All right, welcome to Grand Prairie, Texas. Sorry about the video feed. Our battery got knocked out due to the wind. We'll get that back up as soon as we can. But we are here for match number 3 between Marfu and the All-Stars. This is the Women's Texas Rugby Union All-Star Challenge as we are underway.
So starting out the game, we had Mid-America in white going from right to left when our screens are on, kicking off 2 stars rugby sevens, going from left to right. Mid-America with a kick that just went 10 meters, and they recovered their own kick. Taking a phase through contact up the middle. And the ball is loose, so Stars with a turnover. This is Elena Cantorna with the ball in hand, getting out to Keita Sutton from the Atlanta Harlequins. Going forward, Carol Trammell getting about 5 meters worth of space, just shy of the halfway line on the field. Elena taking it to the weak side, getting to the hands of Santia Deck. Deck, a brand new player to the sport of rugby. She's actually crossed over from playing for USA flag football and ran track in college here in Texas, the 100, the 200, and the 4x100 relay. This is going to be some of her first Rugby 15s action, so she is a player to watch for the tournament in terms of our Stars team.
You want to get her out in the open then?
This is very true. So this is going to be a line out to Mid-America. Throwing in is their number 5. Attempting to the first pod. The ball is bobbled and Stars turn over. So we have our scrum half, Izzy Gibbons from Penn State University, taking it up through contact. Well done. So Keita Sutton steps into the first receiver and out to inside center Krista Banks.
Hopefully y'all can see us now. Camera back up and running.
Marfu's side set up in a strong line of defense, but a penalty at the breakdown taken quickly by Elena Cantorna, offloads to Keita Sutton. So this is one of our good combinations we're going to be looking for on the field, is Elena playing fly half, normally a scrum half, and then Keita, a WPL player. Elena playing her rugby at Seattle Saracens. She also played college rugby at Penn State, was a college All-American and a 6-time national champion. So thrilled to have her back on her 3rd Stars tour. She's actually toured with us for sevens when we were at the Olympic Training Center for a development sevens opportunity. That involved all of the USA Academy sides. And that's Krista Banks kicking to touch. Krista actually played rugby in Ohio, coming through the Columbus-based Scioto Valley Squirrels team. Played sevens with 1823, and she just recently moved to Seattle. So now Elena has a familiar scrum half with a Penn State compatriot in the number 9, and then Elena outside of her at 12. Ball finds its way out to the hands of Courtney Holmes from Raleigh Venom. So playing a game plan that's going to utilize mobile forwards. We're looking at the opposition this weekend and realizing that we're one of the smaller sides out here on the pitch, but we've got the fleetness, and that comes from being primarily a sevens team. We're able to take athletes and get them into 15s positions. So a lot of versatility, and we'll see different players lining up as first receiver, second receiver, and trying to flow play very quickly.
Is there a big learning curve between the 15s and the 7s, trying to get that game down?
Well, usually it's the other way, where you have 15s players that play 7s to stay in shape for the summer. It's odd that you have just the 7 specialists. There are a few, especially some of the crossover athletes when it comes to the USA Women's Sevens team. Players like Alev Kelter that played hockey in college. We had players like Lori Clifford that played college basketball. Elena Myers-Taylor was a USA bobsled Olympic silver medalist in the most recent games. All found their way to sevens rugby via the sevens code. But here, nearly everybody will have primarily 15s experience, because 7 is that shorter season. So this is going to be a scrum reset on the far side of the field. Again, Stars with ball in hand, so looking to maintain possession. We wisely chose which side of the field we were going to be defending, attacking with the wind to our backs. We know that made such a big difference in the earlier matches with both the men's and the women's games. And so again, trying to establish a safe scrum platform. Going across the Stars front row is Keita Sutton hooking. Meg Steffes, also from the Atlanta Harlequins, at hooker, and Callie Woods playing the tight head prop. Courtney Holmes on the near side flank. Far side is Leah Smeltzer, known as Chan. In second row is Carol Trammell. We've got Morgan Yankee out of Marquette University up in Wisconsin as well. So players coming in from all over the USA, similar to this Mid-America team. Players from not from Texas, that would be the TRU, but Missouri-based, Kansas-based. We got a few different college programs represented as well. Nebraska with the Omaha Goats. So ball coming out. Krista Banks has the ball in hand, going out to Jenna. Jenna, a last-minute addition coming from Fresno State University out in California. And now it is a penalty to Marfu just at midway. So Marfu looking to set up a penalty play. Again, the middle of the field, it's hard to find touch kicking with and into the wind. So taken up by a hard run by this Mid-America forwards and distributed out to another forward pod on attack. And a good strip. An unfortunate call as that seemed to be an excellent play. The player was down. She has to release the ball. The ruck is an open contest where either team can go for it. And if there is no ruck established, you can have hands on the ball. What may have happened, though, is the referee may have deemed that she did not release. If you are the tackler or the tackle assist, you have to release and step back and go through the gate. So guessing that that was the situation there. But otherwise, like the aggression. Mid-America on attack again and attacking with support. They are well coached by Anna Kunkel. She's been with the Girls High School All-Americans program, has been involved in many of USA Rugby's coaching development opportunities, has coached on one of our Stars tours as well. She's based in Kansas City. And is definitely a thinking person's kind of coach. So she's very big on the questions and answers and making sure people understand the theory and all of the options when it comes to the game and why they're making decisions, why they're making choices. You know, really using a lot of questions to make sure her players are active, engaged, and involved. So they'll have a very firm game plan, and they'll be looking to execute to their strengths. Right now, it's going to be, though, a Stars strength with the scrum and put in by Elena Cantorna at the number 9. So apologies earlier. I thought we were going to have Izzy starting, but it looks like we had a last-minute lineup change. Mid-America steals the scrum. So going forward on attack, Leah Smeltzer comes out from the flanker position to make the tackle, comes out wide again to Mid-America. So again, utilizing their forward pods. We haven't seen them spin it to the backs as of yet. This is going to be another forward run with Katie Sanders with the ball in hand. We know Katie as she was a standout at this tournament last year, and then she came and played with our Stars team in the Las Vegas Sevens. So it's kind of nice having these opportunities with these teams in these tournaments to say, okay, we're playing against each other here, but we've got this trip. If your team is not going, meet up and join up. So another Mid-America ball to the far side of the field. And there's a break on the far side. Mid-America's wing doing well to go forward. Tackled by Sierra Gribble. And this is the second Stars 15s tour of the fall. So 2 weeks ago, our men played Lindenwood. The women were there as well. Lindenwood University being the top women's program in the country, not only winning at the collegiate level with the Women's D1 Elite 15s National Championship, as well as the Sevens National Championship and the CRC Championship. They also played a couple of the WPL teams this fall, came away with victories over the Glendale Merlins, as well as Life West Gladiatrix, who just challenged into the WPL. So Lindenwood, just a factory of amazing athletes going on. They had 4 players play for the USA in their test series against England and Ireland overseas, as well as New Zealand that took place in Chicago. So to have 4 college players from our program making the senior national team is an impressive statement.
What's the WPL?
WPL is our Women's Premier League. So there are 10 teams based around the country. So players like Kita and Meg on our Stars team play for the Atlanta Harlequins. So they're based in the more geographically dense areas, but where kind of like the best players are going to play in the best competition possible. So you have Chicago, Minnesota, Boston, New York. There was Washington, D.C., Life West based in Hayward, California, just challenged in. They beat the D.C. Furies, who were the bottom team. So there actually is a relegation promotion system, much like UEFA soccer. You have teams, San Diego Surfers, the Berkeley All Blues too. So they're generally the teams that have strong history, that have reliable coaching, and that will have a WPL elite side. Some of them run a D1 team like Glendale, and then some run both their WPL and D2 teams. So looking at developing a lot of talent. And with our new NIRA competition, which is the Intercollegiate Rugby NCAA initiative, there are 17 women's teams playing varsity college rugby under the NCAA, so players going through the clearinghouse, declaring their eligibility, following all the recruiting guidelines, in addition to the varsity but non-NCAA programs. So the sport really growing, and it's made its mark as we see the women's sevens team having gone very well in the last 2 tournaments. Yes. So it is Mid-America going over for the try, doing well to strike off the set piece and coming in under the post. So this is going to give Marfu a 5-0 lead about 8 minutes into this opening half of play. So we talk about Marfu being Mid-America. That's where Lindenwood University is based. However, those players, because they are in their college system, would not be playing on this particular team. So they do have some other college representation from across their region, but we're not seeing the players from that sort of college level.
So nice drive by Marfu to get the first points of the game. Lead this one 5-0, trying to tack on 2 more here early on in the first half. of the All-Star Challenge. We'll be back tomorrow at 11-1, and these teams will play each other. Won't play each other. They'll play the opposite teams. They'll play Texas Rugby Union and
Capital Select side.
Capital from this morning.
So Stars will be taking on Texas tomorrow, and Capital will be playing Mid-America. We have an annual series with the Capital Select side, and really started this whole 15s program when we were asked by Life University, so one of the varsity but non-NCAA teams, to put together a team to play their men and their women, being kind of lacking for competition in their off-season, and making sure that they wanted to get their top-side players reps. So we've put together a team. It was kind of a fun challenge. We had to find tight 5 players from outside of our 7s group, and so that's, again, when we played Lindenwood the first time. Coach Anna Kunkel from the Mid-America team coached with us there, and it was good local connections. But since we play DC in January, it's kind of nice that we get to play the other teams that are here. This is a mistake by the Stars. Kickoff did not go 10, and we look earlier to how that scoring drive started. It was a penalty against Stars that gave Mid-America possession and gave them the ball. It took a few phases of play, but had it not been for that turnover, Stars would have still been attacking into the Marfu side of the field. So again, looking at the importance of that not releasing call that led to the penalty that gave them possession. So Marfu doing well to create opportunities off of the turnover ball.
You talked about it the last game, these little mistakes that can add up and lead to scores for other teams, the other team.
So we have a scrum at midfield with the kick not going 10. Libya put in by the Mid-America Selects. Set up with a split back configuration. So we can tell that the ball is going to the right side of the field. Again, we're looking at how hips are turned and how players have their feet set up. The players that were on this near side of the field both were leading with the wrong foot forward, so you can anticipate that they're not going to get the ball. Now, there are some players that don't pay as much attention to their setup, but generally how you're setting up your feet is you want to make sure that your first step is going to take you in the direction that you're going to be receiving from and where you're going to be attacking. So this is Mid-America, though, pinned deep into their own territory. Stars defense doing its job. We have a couple tackle situations going on, and we see a large pod of Marfu forwards out to this right side of the field.
They don't seem spread out. They just seem kind of bunched up there.
Right, but spread far from the breakdown. So they were about 20 meters away from where the ruck had happened, so you know that they were looking to use a play and strike with their forwards towards the outside. Krista Banks here with a turnover for the Stars team, so now here defense yielding a turnover opportunity. Elena Cantorna taking the ball out. Stars forwards to the right side of the field. The ball taken by Morgan Yankee. She's actually in ROTC up at Marquette University as well, so be eligible for the Armed Forces representative team. Trying to move the ball wide again. The ball just dropped. There's Meg Steffes on the receipt, a little bit lofty there, so it's going to be a scrum to Mid-America. But Stars still in Mid-America territory, about 10 meters past the halfway mark. And we'll be looking to see how this game progresses and how it really settles in as the game goes on. A little bit cooler than our opening games of the day. The sun not quite as strong. It is cloudy and windy here in Texas, but still a balmy 70 degrees.
It still is. Yeah, we had bright sunshine the first 2 games, and now the clouds are starting to move in, cooling things off.
So we look again at this Mid-America setup. So they've got their fly half center wings towards the far side of the field. So looking to strike far. And it goes through the hands, inside center, outside center, out to the wing. She had that nice break earlier. We'll see if Stars can cover. She gains the meters. And it is Mid-America on the attack, getting to about halfway. Katie Sanders from Mid-America with the break that finally crosses the halfway line. She's a player that is a strong runner in contact and has a strong stiff arm as well, one that is familiar to us yet again. You see the tackle by Tia Deck, and she gets quickly back up to her feet. And look at this counter ruck. So we saw Keita Sutton trying to place a little bit of pressure on the Marfu team, and it was enough pressure now. Marfu deep and pushed back on defense. So good launching defense by the Stars, and well done by Mid-America keeping the ball in hand. And again, running a lot of their play through their forward pack. So really looking to emphasize, or making their mark with their forward striking, trying to break through the lines. And it is knocked on, picked up by Stars. So advantage shown to the Stars side. Elena Cantorna with the pass off to Krista Banks, lining up at the fly half position, and we're going to see the penalty now. So it is Stars ball. And Banks once again with ball in hand to kick to touch. She's a player that's played for both Stars 7s and 15s. Again, played with us against Life University, against the Capital Selects, has played for our teams out in the Vegas Elite Tournament as well. She's seen representative rugby as well with the Women's Rugby Recruitment Ravens side, has gone over to play in tournaments like Dubai and Ireland, and really trying to get as much representative rugby under her belt as she can.
I don't think that's where she wanted to go with that line out. Kind of went straight down the field instead of up the field.
It did, and we see the long throw. So Callie Woods is fielding at the back as the tail gunner in the line-out position. Good pressure by this Marfu defense, though. So Stars dropping a couple balls and passes, and Marfu continuing to put their pressure. So now Stars are back off in a worse situation than where they started. Ball in the hands of Amy Verdonick. Amy playing with the San Diego Surfers. So she's got that blue hair, doesn't care. And it's another penalty. So Stars with the ball in hand. Would love to see us start taking some quick taps and trying to move forward quickly. The ball is left, though, far from the referee's mark, so that is going to be a no-go. So this kick is struck by Elena Cantorna. We'll see if it can bounce over to touch. It does not find its way there, fielded by the second row from the Mid-America side.
They just got cut up there in the wind. That's Marfu. That's Bean Joyce.
It's a breakaway upfield, but she steps into touch. So just push to touch, but looked like it may have been Jenna Ballester coming over.
There's a Marlon Bean Joyce from the Omaha Goats with the run there.
So again, we talk about these things that are kind of careless errors. Stars opting to kick to touch now. We had a line out that didn't work. We had a line out or a kick that did not find its way to touch, and these are things that we can just clean up and change. But these are all yielding in opportunities for the Mid-America Selects, and now they're in our field deep yet again. It is going to be a line out to Stars, but looks like we may have a radio issue with our referee. And it is going to be a scrum instead, line out not straight. So we'll look again as to the setup as to these teams. We see a little bit of a chatter going on between the Mid-America 10 and 12, relaying a call to their weak side wing, and now we see her set up too. So she's got that right foot back. If she receives the ball, she's going to look to step with her right foot, and that's going to bring her in alignment to strike forward to this near sideline. So looking directionally where she wants to go if it comes her way. It's going out to the strong side of the field, and we see a big strike line run by the Mid-America fullback. She is tackled, and the ball stolen again. So Krista Banks now with 3 or 4 turnovers in the breakdown area. That's going to be key as the game goes on. Again, buying ourselves out of being under pressure with Mid-America on the attack about 20 meters from the goal line in the hands of Carol Trammell from the Raleigh Venom. A nice offload from the floor, and now Callie Woods taking it forward, so getting a couple extra meters of space. Elena Cantorna seeing something she likes on this near sideline, and Tia Deck showing off this football footwork, and she just is taken out of bounds. You can see that she saw the green space in front of her. So with more rugby experience, she'll get to know when she has the opportunity to kick downfield. With open play, Mid-America did not have their fullback back. Their wings are not in position for any sort of depth. A chip and chase over those defenders, or a grubber kick down on the ground off their instep would have put the ball directionally where she wanted to go, with her knowing her timing and her speed. So that's something that she can take away, again, being brand new to the sport, is that you can kick anytime in open play, and realizing that they did not have that fullback or sweeper that we say in sevens. You know, it's kind of like that last sweeper in soccer too. That last defender wasn't there, so there was just so much green space for her to run.
I guess so she's used to that flag football where you just go.
Well, that and track too. So she's used to running straight and running hard. If you're a 100 and 200 meter runner, that's some wheels for sure. So this is going to be a scrum now to the Stars. Mid-America not able to capitalize on the line out.
Haven't really seen anybody with the advantage in the scrums yet.
No, it's been pretty even. If you look at Mid-America's a little bit high in the scrums, and you look at their shoulders right now, their forwards, heads down, her eyes are like back towards her knees too, but they have the size and the height for it too. Would love to see her maybe work a little bit on her body positioning to make sure she's coming down with a straight back and using her knees to bend down to get depth rather than hinging at the hips. We see a little bit of a pop over ball. It is a penalty to the Stars, and this is the quick tap we've been waiting for. So now look at this go forward. We gained more than 10 meters of space. That's the advantage you get in penalty, much like in football too. So by getting beyond that, that is a successful play call. And now another penalty. So this is now 6, 7, 8 penalties against Mid-America, giving Stars opportunity, and this might be the chance where we can finally break it. This was a good option, but an excellent read by the outside center for Mid-America, shooting up hard in defense.
That's Meredith Schwartz that broke up that play.
Yep, she read that we were going straight hands trying to get the ball to the outside, and unfortunately no one was telling our team that we had a shooter coming. So that's something that could have been avoided by telling and communicating to your teammates that you want her to hold or to carry, or if she had just dummied the pass, because she was shooting up so hard, that would have left space behind her to attack instead. So we have a little bit of a word to Mid-America. Another penalty here on the far side of the field. This is a situation where you start looking at, is there persistent infringement? Is the same thing happening over and over and over again? If it gets to the point that that is happening, the referee is going to start calling or issuing a yellow card. Because if it's the same penalty, that's going to be into cynical play, and that's not following the laws of the game. So hopefully it's something that cleans up, because these are all good players. It just depends on who's calling the match and what their definitions are when it comes to the gate, when it comes to the rucks, and something that'll just be communicated as the game goes on.
Well, too, I imagine you don't want a lot of starting and stopping. It kind of kills the momentum of the flow.
So this kick does find touch, so that issue looks to be taken care of. Did notice too that Banks seems to be taking our penalty kicks on the far side and Elena here on the near. So we'll see if that trend continues or if it's just who is closer to the ball. But on the far side of the field, about 20 meters from the goal line, we're going to see a line-out throw by that hooker, Keita Sutton. She's another one that's played a fair bit of representative rugby, playing with Stars, playing a bit with the Ravens, playing with Atlanta Harlequins. They run a sevens team that's placed as high as 3rd in the country recently. They go play in the Cape Fear tournament every summer in July. We see the referee motioning for a knock-on. Marfu elects to kick with the penalty advantage, or well, the scrum advantage rather. And it looks like the referee says advantage not gained, so now we're going to have a scrum to Mid-America. So advantage in rugby similar to the sport of soccer, where if you can do something better with the ball in hand, he's not going to stop play immediately and reset the scrum. Usually looking at either a window of time, a certain number of passes, or a tactical gain in ground. Sometimes that gain can come from a kick downfield, but if that kick isn't going to be recovered by the team kicking, or there's not going to be, anything really good that's coming from it, then they will call it back, and that is the situation here. That kick found itself to touch, and it wasn't really putting them in a better position, so it'll go back to the initial infringement. So we see the put in by Mid-America, attempting to drive forward. And this is something we talked about with the Stars team too, is that we know that Mid-America has size on us in the scrum. So looking at, you can lock out and try to prevent the drive. And quickly off the scrum, well done by Leah Smelter, but the referee says no, is a penalty perhaps on the early release. But I like that pressure and the aggression there. Now we know that timing. So she's going to have to break off the scrum just a tad bit later. She can't break off until the ball is out. But we're seeing defensive pressure coming on. Krista Banks trying to field the ball on the far side of the field. So with the penalty, Mid-America does not find touch. This gives Stars the ball, and Stars with a lot of space to this near side of the field. Carol Trammell taking the ball up, and look at this. Mid-America, all hips turned towards the breakdown. They're all looking in to where the ball is rather than looking up and looking out to where our offense is set up. However, they've turned the ball over, so nothing lost there.
So the situation, you're just trying to get a quick kick the ball out, get a advantage of that run.
Right, well, we're trying to catch them unawares. If we can catch them off guard, or we can catch them with their defense not quite set, we're trying to find where space is. Sometimes the space is in front of you. A lot of times teams are looking towards the outside, but space can often be where the ball just came from. The Mid-America ball in hand, a couple of great runs by their forwards. So again, striking with their forwards, using that to their advantage. And we see a strong counter ruck put on by the Stars, and Stars have turned the ball over. So we see all these times Stars coming up flat in defense, quick and often, creating turnover balls again and again and again, but then having to make that transition then back to setting up their offensive plays. And now it's Mid-America coming forward, but a little bit of a hole here between the centers. So that's a place to opportunity to strike. There's an opportunity to strike here to this far side of the field. A nice line break by Esther Anderson. She's a player that's playing forward for us today. Oh my gosh! Sorry. That's one for the highlight reel. Amy Verdona catching the ball behind the back with the no-look pass. Well, we'll have to get a video clip of that, please. And you know what? That could be a little game breaker here. Just the energy and the hype from that. We're fortunate that our Stars men are here to watch the game, although turned over by Mid-America, so that all may have been for naught. And this is a nice breakdown field. We see Amy Verdonick.
That's Kara Clausen with room to run.
And she is one of the strong players from this Mid-America team. So these are nice give and goes here. The Mid-America 7 and 8 linking up nicely together. Great support. This is Katie Saunders on the outside of the field, and she is tackled well. So now we're looking at Stars. Can we turn over the ball, or can we just push them back and tackle for loss and really try to set up our defense to create that launch? Mid-America now has caught up to the play as well, but what exciting rugby. We do have a Mid-America player down on the field, so we'll keep an eye on that situation if we do have an injury and need a minute.
Got 2 down there. That's number 8, Kara Clausen for Marfu, who's down.
And now we are going to see another penalty called and a discussion between our referee and assistant referee. So 2 Marfu players down. And it looks like it may be the try awarded as well, but still having a chat with that assistant referee. We have a Stars player down on the far side of the field too, so dealing with these hot conditions and hard ground on the field, that is going to make an impact, not only between the impact that you're taking when you're running, but just like arches, calves, cramping, a lot going on.
Yeah, just walking through the field, it's not one of the flattest fields out there. There are divots and little holes out there. So just about halfway through this first half.
And we see more players cramping up as well. So some of the Marfu players helping each other out, getting them stretches. And we do have this Marfu player, so there's going to be a substitution here on the near side for Marfu. Coming on number 22 for the team is Monique Dodson out of the Black Sheep team based in Columbia, Missouri. And another player coming off for Marfu, looks like, or may just be getting some instruction.
So, yeah, the call was a touch on the field, was it?
No, I believe that it was a try. So we have the scoreboard back in action.
Wrong words. Yeah,
yep.
Try.
So currently Mid-America leading 12-0 over the Stars.
12-0. We didn't get to see who got in. There was a pile of people, so we didn't get to see who scored that last try.
And it looks like there was a yellow card issued to our Stars' second row Carol, so she'll be out of the game for 10 minutes. We'll have to make some adjustments within the forwards to make sure we're covering for our tight 5. And kicking off for Stars is going to be number 165, Krista Banks. So Banks trying to get that kick to go just 10, if it will. It just crosses the line.
Just barely. Needed 10 to win 11.
Oh.
I don't think they're going to give it to her.
It crossed the 10-meter line and dribbled into touch, so that should be a line out, but we're having a scrum in the center of the field to Mid-America. In these situations, they could opt for a re-kick, but you hardly ever see a team do that unless you're playing some of these instructional kind of like a first-time ever rugby games. So here we're playing good tactical rugby.
I guess we're not using the wind to their advantage and trying to put it deep on the kickoffs. That's the third kick, our second kickoff that's gone out of bounds, short of the or gone short of the 10. 12-0 our score here. Marfu leading this one. Just over 25 minutes of into the game. Jackson from the Omaha Goats is going to feed that one in.
And so this is Mid-America with a solid drive off the scrum. The ball is out and going to the far side of the field. So again, looking to strike where they've been successful with both their tries coming on that far side. So playing to strengths. And now they're resetting again and coming to the near side, going left across the field. This is Katie Sanders, ball in hand, but she is stopped and held up in the middle of the field. Nice offloads, though, coming from Mid-America, and a good run, a good strike line. And we see the attempt by Stars of the counter. This is Elena Cantorna going in, driving over the ball. Keita Sutton able to pick it up. The ball bouncing on the ground, though, and now it is in hand. Krista Banks gets it out. We've got numbers to the outside, but we're taking a little bit of contact, so just making sure that we're securing the ball in our hands instead of knocking on. And then Marfu is stifling any go forward. It is now a Marfu ball. And this is the hooker wearing number 2 that had that great breakaway on this near sideline earlier that hyped up the Marfu side.
Bean Joyce. Marfu team has had 3 healthy drives so far this first half.
And this is another stable line of attack. So they're getting there. They're securing their rucks. They're keeping it tight and moving through their forwards, through their forwards, through their forwards. And again, they are playing with the 1-woman advantage at the moment. We see Stars turned over the ball again. So Stars looking for an exit strategy. We're deep inside of our 22. Would expect to see a kick coming. The ball is not fielded cleanly, but it was knocked straight down, so no knock on. Stars with numbers to the far side of the field. Mid-America has another player that looks a little bit tender coming up off the ground. Mid-America gets the ball, and Mid-America may have the try. They are close to the goal line. Stars trying to get under and hold it up, and it is held up, so that is going to bring it to a 5-meter scrum.
Nice job by the Stars to hold them out there.
So Stars with fewer players on the field. We'll look to see how we set up the scrum yet again. This is a situation where we could bring in, we've got some players that are versatile in the back line. So if we wanted to bring in Banks or somebody else to come in and step in at 8 and move people up, we could. However, she is one of our primary kicking targets, especially playing in the fly half position. So she's staying out for now. Stars making sure that we are lined up against their team.
Do you see many drop kicks at this level?
You do not. You hardly see drop kicks in American rugby at all. It's also a Stars put in, so Mid-America would have to steal and then be in position and have a kicker that's capable of doing it and have the timing and not have defense in her face. It is always an option. When I coached college rugby, I certainly made my boys attempt it every single game, so that way they were able to do it under pressure, because there are tactical scenarios where it does work, especially when you do have slip backs and you set up your drop kicker then a little bit deeper off of the scrum. But these scrums are not looking good. It is a penalty to Stars now. So Mid-America driving down. We talked about that positioning of that one prop. It did go down on her side. So when her shoulders are below her butt, you're going to go to ground. It's just how momentum and physics work. So we see an unfortunate forward pass. Keita Sutton trying to link up with Santia Deck on this near sideline. Scrum to Mid-America, a little bit of a wheel, and the ball is out. So we see the scrum half digging in with 2 hands. So as soon as her hands are on the ball, there's a great tackle by Elena Cantorna from the scrum half position, and now turnover ball again to Stars. So Stars yielding or coming away with some turnovers in some key scenarios, but still playing a lot of rugby now in our half. It started out the first half of the game where we were largely in the Mid-America half of the field. This is a nice line break, so this should open up some space for Stars. I believe that was Callie Woods on the carry. And we see that pass to the far side. This is Esther Anderson with the kick. So while she's playing forward for Stars today, she's actually a player that often plays in the fly half and center position too. We were teammates for Chicago women. She's still with the side. And we see a bruising tackle here by Tia Deck. So she might play some touch football, but she's got some tackle football in her too. Good timing and a good read. Tia bobbling the ball, and Tia slipping the tackle. Tia going around, and she's going to get the first Stars try of the game. So well done by Stars, creating opportunity. The key turnover came from that pressure from Elena Cantorna on the scrum, making that tackle on the Mid-America scrum half, and then getting good go forward. Callie Woods finally getting that break we needed. We got the ball to space, and then coming back to this this near side of the field on the right sideline, and Tia Deck gets her first try for Stars rugby.
So that cuts into the lead. Marfu now leading 12-5, waiting for the conversion here. And we talked about her speed. Get her in open space, you're not catching her.
No, she's got such quick turnover too. And you talk about things like ground force reaction too when you're running. I saw a great demo the other day where someone just kind of dropped a tennis ball and then forcefully bounced a tennis ball. And we talk about runners like running light on their feet, and there's track coach said, no, you need to push off the ground. You're not supposed to run light on your toes. And she did this demo, and it was the simplest way of breaking it down. You're like, yeah. So a player like Tia getting quick turnover, but also using that ground force reaction to drive herself, that's where she's getting her speed from. You know, and then of course having the right, the balance and mobility with hip flexors and the strength that she has too. So we have the conversion attempt here with Elena Cantorna lining up on the tee. And take a moment to say hi to the Burn Dog. Elena's father, Bernie Cantorna, a well-known rugby coach based in State College, Pennsylvania. So Elena and both her sister Gabby, All-Americans, going to Penn State, winning national titles. He's a coach of the State College girls high school team and is undoubtedly watching his daughter shine. The conversion is good. Stars trailing 12-7. And about 5 minutes left to go in the first half.
Well, they marked 14. So earlier it was 12-7. Now they're marking 14-7. So
we'll have to see if we can get a score check from the referee when we go into halftime. But regardless, 2 tries to 1. So this will be a Mid-America kick off to Stars. Mid-America lining up their forwards to this near side of the field. Here on kickoffs, looking to see where kickers are planting their foot, how their hips are turned going to strike. There are a few kickers in the World Series of Sevens that go opposite ways, most notably with New Zealand women, that will set up and look as if they're kicking to the left. They'll back out and switch the other direction. There are a few kickers flouting out, in particular for the USA men's team, that can kick off with both feet and are a threat either way. So when you're talking about time to work on micro skills in the off season, that's a really good one to do. This is Stars recovering the ball. Amy Verdonik looking to break the line if she can. And the ball is knocked forward in the tackle. Mid-America with advantage, though, because it is Mid-America that has the ball and trying to see what they can do well. It was a good drive and cover by Elena Cantorna, muscling this Mid-America player to the sideline. So we're going to play the initial knock on, and it is going to be a scrum to Mid-America. Mid-America with the ball in. Elena's going to be looking to apply pressure again, see if we can get another turnover as we did before. Mid-America getting the ball.
Seems like she's using how Marfu is powering on the scrum house. She's using that to her advantage to wait for it to clear and then going for the steal. It kind of worked out when they Stars turned it over to lead to that score.
Yep, so she's looking to see, like in that situation, the Marfu scrum have had both hands on the ball, so the ball is out. And this is a nice intercept. Oh, Keita Sutton nearly had it. So this is going to be a situation where it was like a viable go for the ball. That's not an intentional knock on because she did have it in hand and then kind of made a rugby move. If we could make the equivalent of having a football move to define a catch. But then it is knocked on after she takes a few steps forward. So now Marfu is playing on. That could have been a nice break. And that's something Keita is good for at least twice a game. If you watch any of her film playing with the Atlanta Harlequins, she's constantly there just sneakily picking off balls. And she's got the speed where she can finish as well. A powerful athlete. I mean, she's only about 5'3" tall, but she has the muscle.
Really packs a punch. So Marfu on the attack now.
Yes, Marfu getting deep into Stars territory, about 25 meters from the goal line. So this has taken a large bit of field space. And Marfu, good leg drive. She is motoring going forward. Stars setting up their defense again, anticipating the next wave of attack. We know Marfu's likely to go and use their forwards because that's what they've been doing so well. There hasn't been very many 10, 12, 13 connections out of this Marfu team. They're using their forwards a lot, striking off the interior side. And we haven't really seen them go around the corner with open space. They've had those breaks on the sidelines, but it's been a lot of support play.
Just in. Looks like they're about a few feet away.
So we see them try to dive over, and we see Stars holding up the try again. So Stars preventing Marfu from touching the ball to the ground. It used to be that tries had to be scored with downward pressure. Now the ball just has to be grounded. So minor changes in the terms mean some minor changes in the application of how you actually do score the try. In this scenario, Amy Verdonik was able to get under the ball, so the ball doesn't touch the ground. You can't
so you literally just have to touch it now.
Right. You know, it can't be like knocked on in the process of doing so, though. That does make a difference. And interestingly enough, when you're close enough to the post, you can actually touch the ball to the post to score as well, but it's rare that you see that happen. Situations where you might have a maul that's not the safest or looking for player safety too, you know, that's why that rule exists. You don't want a player's head being driven into the post instead. So this is a Marfu pick from their 8-man going to the weak side of the field, and now the try is scored. So Marfu is going to go up again just before halftime, leading 19-7, pending the conversion kick. So well done by Marfu, taking advantage of their strength in the scrum to open up a little bit of space, again, right under the post, and so able to split sides and have the option to go either way. And again, that might be something that's a consequence of that penalty that was called earlier when we did break a little bit early by the referee's definition off the scrum. So if our flankers are having to stay bound, and now that does mean having a shoulder stay in. It used to be that you could bind by just holding on to someone, but having to keep that shoulder in tight means that she's there and not quite able to get off as quickly to play defense. The Mid-America kick is good, so currently 21-7 according to the scoreboard. And it looks like we'll have a little bit of time yet to play. We did have some minutes off because of the injuries. There was a minute off with the yellow card as well. So there might be 3 to 4 minutes of extra play here in this opening half.
And that was Sierra Clausen out of KC Jazz who got that touch, who got the try for Mid-America. Probably about a minute left here, if that. The last 3 kickoffs hadn't gone as according to plan for the Stars. See what they do here.
Well, that one certainly goes 10, and it finds its way bouncing into space into the hands of the Mid-America prop. And we have a ruck and a tackle just at 10 meters past the halfway mark. Again, another strike by their forwards. She ends up in the same exact place as her teammate before her. The ball is down, and we find it going back to forwards yet again.
Nice power running. Looks like that's number 1, Jessica Weston.
And the ball is going to be taken by Stars. So a good counter ruck by the Stars team. And this is something we've done so many times on the turnover. So solid defense being played. It's just some of the finishing that's lacking with the Stars team. And it's kind of funny because you talk about these touring teams. Sometimes you're like, okay, well, defense is easy. You just have to tackle. We have to link up. You have to trust. And that was, one of the things where now it's like, okay, well, the attack, everyone knows how to run and pass and things, but it's the timing issues. So again, with extra time together, with a day, this Marfu team was able to run some camps. They actually held tryouts. They're all from the same region, so they can get together beforehand. They played a trial match against Lindenwood as well. We carried over, oh goodness, maybe only 2 to 3 players from the Lindenwood tour to this Texas tour as well, so didn't quite have the time together. So we'd love to see how this settles in, and especially what adjustments are made in the second half. But Mid-America's certainly been playing to their strengths, and their strengths have been through their forwards and then opening up space for their backs to finish.
So where did they get to go when they toured Texas?
What was that?
Where did they get to go when they toured Texas? Did they go to the Star 2 or the Texas Stadium?
Oh, the women?
Yeah.
Yes. I was like, I don't know what Mid-America does.
Oh, no. Yeah,
no, our teams do everything together, and that's a huge part of our culture, is that when we do have our men and women on tour, or in 2 weeks with our senior men and U19 boys playing against those Louisiana All-Stars too, is that, we're eating dinner together. We get meals catered in. We spend time together, often renting houses this week in a hotel, but okay, we do yoga sessions, pool recovery sessions. If we're here for a long time, we would have different S&C and gym sessions as well, but doing as much as we can to create the full athlete experience, so that way there are things that they can take away and take back to their home teams as well. So we saw Stars maybe trying to read the play that was coming, and this is a breakaway by the outside center. She is covered by the Stars fullback Amy Verdonic, but good support and good lines of running here. Krista Banks makes the tackle, and it is Mid-America again in Stars territory, about 5 meters from the goal line. So some great line breaks too. Is one of those things where Stars just left a little bit of a hole in defense, and Mid-America did make us pay, and they're going to do it yet again via Katie Sanders, and the try is scored.
Nice power running by Mid-America. Marfu. It's hard to see their numbers when they get further downfield. I can't tell that red didn't really stand out on who got the try. But they've been doing a good job running up the middle of the field.
They have. It's just It's come from them having options to their right and to their left to offload, so using the power of their forwards to go forward, and then finally break with a little bit of space. So taking that small little gap that Stars left, they were able to get through, and while we had the cleanup tackle and another cleanup tackle and another one, there just isn't a fourth, fifth wave after that. So defense on a little bit of a scramble. This should be about the end of the first half, and so some minor adjustments to be made for the Star side. We'll see Mid-America rolling deep with their bench, what adjustments they may make as well. The conversion is wide. The score will remain 26-7, and that is the half.
All right, well, that's going to do it for the first half. We're going to take a short break and be back with second half action. You're watching the Texas Rugby Union All-Star Challenge featuring Mid-America and the Stars. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.
At Austin Pets Alive, the mission is to promote and provide the resources, education, and programs needed to eliminate the killing of companion animals. That means more happy pets joining more happy families every single day. In fact, Austin Pets Alive has saved more than 25,000 dogs and cats since 2008. And you can help. Adopt a new family member, help out with a donation, or roll up your sleeves and volunteer. If you have love, time, or money to spare, and we all have at least one of those, you're needed. Visit AustinPetsAlive.com to get started. Austin Pets Alive, helping people help pets.
We hope you're enjoying tonight's broadcast. And while all of us at the KMAX Sports Network are huge football fans, we broadcast more than just football, you know. In fact, KMAX Sports proudly broadcasts volleyball, girls and boys basketball, softball, baseball, soccer, lacrosse, and more. For more information on how you can help KMAX Sports broadcast any of those sports, just reach out to Chuck at KMAXSports.com or Merle at KMAXSports.com, or contact that sports booster club directly. KMAX Sports will gladly work with you and the booster clubs to get that team's broadcasts on the air. And if you're a fan of the other team, well, we can broadcast your team's games too. We realize that, yes, even in Texas, there's more to life than just football. KMAX Sports, bringing your teams to you for 14 years. We hope you're enjoying tonight's broadcast. At KMAX Sports, we work hard to provide quality professional broadcasts to make it easier for the booster clubs with whom we work to find sponsorships. We ask that you please patronize these advertisers and thank them for supporting your team's broadcasts. You can help your booster club fund the broadcasts by simply clicking on the donate button on KMAXSports.com. And if you're a fan of the other school, you can show your appreciation for tonight's broadcast by making a donation as well. Thank you in advance for your support. And now, let's take you back out to the game. Do you love the game of football? Wish you could be part of the action? Then become a football official. The Austin Football Officials Association is actively seeking new members to officiate games all across Central Texas. The Austin Football Chapter of TASO, the Texas Association of Sports Officials, provides a 2-year training program for new members. Taught by a crew of veteran officials, these training classes meet each Monday night from July through November and include classroom and on-field instruction. You don't need to be an ex-player or a coach to become a great official and have a memorable officiating career. As our officials will tell you, working around student athletes at all levels of football is gratifying. Plus, you'll develop lifelong friendships with other officials who share your passion for the game. Officiating football is a great way to get into and stay in shape, be a positive role model for student athletes, retain your competitive edge, and earn additional income. Visit the Austin Football Officials Association online at afoa.ws for more information. That's afoa.ws. This is the KMAX Sports Network, and this is what we do.
Looking left, throws into the end
Bad
zone.
snap again. He hits the turf, and
And
Devon
he
scoops it up. Cameron
At the
Wilkins
corner
has
of the
it.
end zone. 10, 5, touchdown.
If you like the sound of that, then let us broadcast your team. Send an email to Merle at KMAXSports.com or Chuck at KMAXSports.com to find out how. Bringing your teams to you since 2003. It's what we do. We are KMAX Sports.
Vipe Media is the state's most comprehensive high school sports media outlet covering UIL, private schools. Vipe has been in Texas for over a decade. Visit their website at VypeTexas.com and also pick up your Vipe magazine today. Get in the game with Vipe Media.
This is the KMAX Sports Network, and this is what we do.
Looking left, throws into the end
Bad
zone.
snap
Complete.
again. He hits the turf, and
he
Devon
caught it.
scoops it up. Cameron
In the
Wilkins
corner of
has
the
it.
end zone. 10, 5, touchdown.
We are the largest, we are the best, bringing your teams to you. We've been doing it for 15 years.
Inside, he's got blockers in front of him.
10,
Touchdown.
5, touchdown.
Yes, sir.
It's what we do, and nobody does it better. We are KMAX Sports.
Vipe Media is the state's most comprehensive high school sports media outlet covering UIL, private schools. Vipe has been in Texas for over a decade. Visit their website at VypeTexas.com and also pick up your Vipe magazine today. Get in the game with Vipe Media.
Socialize with us.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you what, that dang old internet, man, you just go on there and point and click, 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 click. It's real easy, man.
On Twitter at KMAX Sports or catch us on Facebook. Search KMAX Sports. Just another way KMAX Sports is bringing your teams to you.
Vipe Media is the state's most comprehensive high school sports media outlet covering UIL, private schools. Vipe has been in Texas for over a decade. Visit their website at VypeTexas.com and also pick up your Vipe magazine today. Get in the game with Vipe Media.
Do you love the game of football? Wish you could be part of the action? Then become a football official. The Austin Football Officials Association is actively seeking new members to officiate games all across Central Texas. The Austin Football Chapter of TASO, the Texas Association of Sports Officials, provides a 2-year training program for new members. Taught by a crew of veteran officials, these training classes meet each Monday night from July through November and include classroom and on-field instruction. You don't need to be an ex-player or a coach to become a great official and have a memorable officiating career. As our officials will tell you, working around student athletes at all levels of football is gratifying. Plus, you'll develop lifelong friendships with other officials who share your passion for the game. Officiating football is a great way to get into and stay in shape, be a positive role model for student athletes, retain your competitive edge, and earn additional income. Visit the Austin Football Officials Association online at afoa.ws for more information. That's afoa.ws.
1, 2, 3, hit!
More coverage of your high school teams. Let's just say we keep it real.
And you know this, man.
This is the KMAX Sports Network. Socialize with us.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you what, that dang old internet, man, you just go on there and point and click, 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 click. It's real easy, man.
On Twitter at KMAX Sports or catch us on Facebook. Search KMAX Sports. Just another way KMAX Sports is bringing your teams to you. Socialize with us.
You don't have what they call the social skill.
On Twitter at KMAX Sports or catch us on Facebook. Search KMAX Sports. Just another way KMAX Sports is bringing your teams to you.
Have they hit 3? I think the score should be 24-7. Yeah. I don't know that much about rugby. So they made their first 3 kicks.
right, we're back for a second half action between the Stars and Marfu. Not those Stars, but the Stars rugby team. And the score is correct. We did get confirmation. It is 26-7 in favor of Marfu.
So Stars with a low kick downfield, just making sure that that ball is going to go 10. Covering with the tackle is Leah Smeltzer, known as Chan from Rochester Rugby, one of Division II teams in the Midwest. And we have a maul at midfield, so Stars trying to get that knee down. We're going to see if we can create a ruck and then a stable platform. The ball is unplayable. It was brought in by White, did not move forward, so now the ball is going to go to Stars for a put in on the scrum. A couple tactical substitutions coming in. Again, this being tournament play, they are playing this particular game with the normal sub laws. Earlier in the day, they did play with rolling subs in the Texas Capital game as agreed to by their coaches. We have Izzy Gibbon now coming into the scrum half position, Elena Cantorna moving to fly half, Krista Banks to inside center. So basically moved everybody out one step, and Jenna Balestra is in at outside center. We had a substitution as well with the fullback position. We have Lauren Schley out of the Milwaukee Scylla in for Amy Verdonick. And the scrum, the ball coming out quickly from the back, and an 8-man pick. This is well done by Esther Anderson. She had that nice chip and chase downfield earlier. Again, a player capable of playing 10, 12, 13. Played her college rugby at University of Illinois back when they were one of the top 10 teams in the country. And this is a nice ruck platform for the Stars. It was also a great counter ruck by Mid-America, though. They were not letting us get the ball out easily enough. And now Stars attempting to go forward yet again. And we got numbers to the left side of the field, and this is the field where Santia Deck is staying. A nice break by Krista Banks. Krista Banks, she is weaving her way downfield. She just barely gets wrapped around the ankles, but finds herself 10 meters from the goal line. Izzy Gibbons going out to the right side. She put ball in hand of Meg Steffes. And so Mid-America able to cover that well and drive Stars back. But we'll be looking to see if we can get more of those line breaks. This is Esther Anderson. She had that nice break before. Tackled well by Mid-America. And now coming to the left side of the field. So Banks again, ball in hand, and she's got 3 outside of her.
She tries to split the defenders. They take her down.
Again, they're kind of teeing off on some of these wider balls going out to the Stars forward. So Mid-America doing well coming forward with their first foot. Some of it. Callie Woods taking it into contact. Ball hits the deck. And it is going to be a penalty to Stars. We'll see if Kelly can get back up off the ground. And we'll have a minute on the field, a stoppage of play. Where referee just checking in with Callie as she's slow getting back to her feet. Again, trainers from Baylor Sports Med coming on.
Oh, wind kicked up there.
Looks like Mid-America's substituting on, but they can't sub. It's our penalty. I don't know why that's being allowed.
Miscommunication about what the substitution rules are for this game, you think?
Well, it's our penalty and our advantage. They can't take players out and tactically make changes when it is our penalty. It's okay, though. Callie is back on her feet. And apparently we are re-engaging for a scrum. So it'll be a scrum at midfield, about 30 meters from the goal line. Stars set with their backs towards the left side of the field. We do have Lauren up at fullback, so she's got the option to strike wherever the ball does go. And a quick, another 8-man pick by Sarah Anderson. Going to the outside, that's Sierra Gribble in the red scrum cap. She has played, again, on quite a few Stars tours, both 7s and 15s alike. Played at Sacramento State initially and then transferred into Lindenwood University, so one of those varsity college teams. Just shy of 5 feet tall, but mighty with her speed. Mid-America covering well on defense. We see their defense all aligned. Again, hips turned in, so there's opportunities to the outside of the field if Stars can get the ball there. A little bit of a handling error in the middle of the field, but cleaned up. We'll see if we can go quick again. We see Keita Sutton to the outside calling for the ball, and now shifting out. We have Elena Cantorna. She's got Keita to the outside and Santia outside of her. So Keita is looking for that offload option. The strike runner not quite there, so it just goes down to a ruck. Izzy Gibbon out to the right side of the field, and we still have Sierra Gribble far right side wing. Callie Woods taking it forward. Mid-America covering all of these plays. However, the whistle blows, penalty to Stars. And we're going to see Stars with a quick tap taken by Krista Banks. So Krista Banks, love the way she carries the ball. 2 hands, but her shoulders are over the ball. She's got a threat to go either way. A lot of players will run straight up and down. You're not going to get a good pass because we're going to have a good pass originating from the core and actually activating tricep shoulders to get it instead of just like swinging our arms across. So she's got the threat of being able to go either way and the opportunity to step either way as well. This is stripped by Mid-America, though. This is their second row, who's had a couple nice line breaks, doing well to turn over Stars' balls. So this has been a solid few phases of play for Stars, but that is negated all by turning over possession. So Mid-America to the far side, and this is one of their substituted players wearing the number 22. She came on when one of their players was injured earlier in the game. That is Monique Dodson. And the ball makes its way to touch. We're going to have a line out.
It was a quick turn for the Stars as they were getting some pressure on, and Marfu was able to turn around and put it to their advantage.
So waiting for the scrum to set. I think a little bit of confusion now that it's a scrum instead of a line out. If the ball is knocked forward into touch, you have the option for either. Some teams will try to get the line out and go quick. In this scenario, setting up the scrum. We haven't had many lineouts that I can recall from the game so far. So really staying within the boundaries of a nice wide field on a windy day. So Izzy Gibbon going with the pick off the base of the scrum, and we see advantage being shown to Stars. Izzy taken down by her opposing scrum half. The ball is taken into touch, and now it's a penalty to Stars. One of the things that's very different, though, is that we have all these penalties to our Stars team, but the ball is being made dead quite frequently. Or I should say, it's not getting to the mark. So we see Mid-America just kind of like placing it where it is or gently rolling it, and we're not able to go quick. So that's taking away some of the advantage that we have on penalty opportunities. Would like to see ball in hand and going forward. We're going to touch. We're going to be able to kick the line out, but because we're not getting the ball to the mark, and that's on Stars as well, if we're not having one of our players just going to get it and retrieve it and passing it to where the referee is setting their mark, we're not able to play with our foot forward and go quick. Another substitute coming on for Mid-America is number 23, Whitney Smith from the St. Louis Sabres. So this is a team that has made their way to the Division II National Championship, played most recently this past spring. The year before, it was the Milwaukee Scylla that won the D2 championship. So some of these players like Lauren and Sierra playing together for Stars were been on position in the past. Mid-America with experience then with players coming from the Sabres team and of course the players that they play against. The ball is overthrown in the back, but Callie Woods cleans it up. Krista Banks, ball in hand. The ball is knocked forward. It looked straight down, but of course the referee's got the better angle.
Yeah, I was going to say I was right in front of us, kind of in the middle, but yeah, it did look like it went straight down and back up.
So it will be a scrum to Mid-America. So we'll look to see what pressure we can apply with our Stars team. Again, middle of the field, looking to see how are their backs set up, where are they going to be attacking through.
Is that a set play that Marfu is running with, where they try to turn turn the scrum? So you have the ability to put more pressure on one side of the scrum versus the other. You can't pull a side back, but you do have scenarios where you try to turn it a bit to open up space for your 8-man to run and take the opposing side flanker or the opposing side scrum half away, because the scrum half has to stay on side and they cannot go around the back of the scrum. So ball in the hands of the Mid-America fullback now, coming to the near side of the field. They've gained about 5 meters of space, a lot of running sideways, and now distributing it back to their bread and butter. We see their forward pods, and we know where their big forward pods are coming from. Stuck up in the tackle by Stars, and now it's a little bit of a break. And Albert stiff farming her way towards the middle of the field.
So well done by these Mid-America forwards. They are playing to their strengths. We see the break away, and Mid-America is in for another try.
Marlon Joyce for the try.
And this is going to be her second of the day.
Bean, as I like to call her.
Mid-America currently leading 31-7 pending the conversion kick.
It's going to be Meredith Schwartz for the conversion attempt here. Try to stretch the lead at 33. Still early here in the second half. This will be the final match of today. We'll be back tomorrow for a 11 a.m. and a 1 p.m. kick. Both those will be part of the Texas Rugby Union All-Star Challenge games.
The conversion is made, and Mid-America taking a 33-7 lead. Substituting on for Stars, coming on number 151, Kat Cloesi, another Northern California product, plays her rugby at Life West University. They are actually a chiropractic school, so not everybody that plays for Life West is a student at the university. She's actually at San Francisco State finishing her undergrad, played with us on tour for Sevens up in Alaska. We're the back-to-back champions of the Midnight Sun Sevens tournament held at the beautiful Alaska Rugby Mountain Grounds. The kick low again, it does go 10, but finding it into the hands of one of the most powerful runners on this Mid-America team, and that number 4, Alyssa Murad from Mizzou, so she's a college undergrad player herself.
Nice run there by Whitney. Finds her way into Stars territory.
Mid-America delivering the ball from the base of the ruck. A high pass, but still another solid run by Alyssa. Stars able to make a tackle and stop her at the gain line, though, because of a bit of a misconnection there. A little bit of a confusion as to who is going to go on and pace at the back. So we saw one of their players like down and ducking away to get out of the way and then coming in to play scrum half. So getting it done eventually, and now it is a penalty against Stars. However, that is nowhere near through the mark, so the referee is going to call it back.
It's about 5 meters away.
So Mid-America will reset and most certainly run as penalty play. I would expect them to set into forward pods and use that strength that they've had. So Star should be ready to launch and come forward. Here's a tap. As soon as that ball is tapped, we can run forward. We know that this is coming. This is what they've been doing well.
Yeah, just give it to her and just. Is it Dominique?
So we see Stars steal the ball again in poaching contact. However, it looked like there was a not releasing call for the penalty. So once again, Mid-America on attack. So there you have that opportunity. We talked about this before. Stars have not been able to tap and go quickly. We haven't been able to get ourselves on the front foot. And now on a lot of these penalties, Mid-America is getting good go forward. They're getting the ball, they're tapping, they're going, and they're running. However, turned over with the tackle. So it is going to be a scrum to Stars on the forward knock. So the scrum is set and the ball is in. Mid-America putting out a bit of a drive on defense. We've got to get the ball out for Stars, but this is another penalty. So this is the second or third on the scrums coming from Mid-America. And again, collapsing on the same side of the scrum all these times. And a little bit confusing if we're opting for a scrum or if he's signaling for a penalty and then setting the scrum himself, but the scrum is what is coming. So that's certainly something we'll talk about when we go through film review and like to see what decisions we made at what time. So the ball is in again by the Stars. Izzy Gibbon with the put. And the scrum collapsing again. So he's now signaling again for a penalty. However, he's going to whistle for a minute. Look like he's going to have a chat because it collapsed again on that far side of the scrum. So that was the near side before. It is the same player that is collapsing
down
every time.
What would they be discussing here? Where they want a Carter or they want to?
Oh, I think he's going to ask what's going on that side because the referee's on the side of the field where the scrum half is putting the ball in, and this is all going on the opposite side of the scrum. So checking with his assistant referee to see what is happening if he needs to have a quick chat. We don't really want players getting cards. So it might just be advising of a minor adjustment or seeing what's happening. Also making sure that this is something where if it's player initiated or is this a case of like losing footing on the ground. So now he's going to have a word with each of the captains. So this is a penalty to Stars.
So that's probably what it was, something that Murphy was doing on the scrum, like you said, dropping their shoulders or getting too low.
He's signaling for a penalty and then bringing it together for a scrum every time. I don't know what is going on, and that is hardly anything I ever say in the game of rugby. I'm really curious as to these calls and definitely want some insight from our team captain after the game is over. So we see the ball hooked back in the 8-man pick. This is Esther Anderson with a pickup. Connecting with scrum half Izzy Gibbons. So Izzy with a little bit of a step. A freshman at Penn State University, played her high school rugby in the Cincinnati area. Came up through the Midwest U19 program as well. Another penalty to Stars. So this is an opportunity for us to go quickly if we can get the ball out from that pile of people. Now Marfu is taking the ball, thinking it's their penalty, moving forward. So again, this is killing our opportunities to have the advantage and to have the opportunity to go quick. This is not something that I'm very fond of. It looks like Stars are, in this case, perhaps opting for scrums off of all of these penalties. That is a choice that you have. You know, you can go quick, you can set up a play, you can kick to touch, you can kick for points, or you can opt for the scrum. Given that we're deep within our own territory, it's an interesting call. So again, it's something to discuss with the team tactically why they're
doing this.
Yes.
Not much action's happened in the past 5 minutes here with these scrum resets.
No. And the ball is in, and again, quickly out the back, so we're having a quick hook and getting the ball out of the scrums, which is a good tactic given how efficient Marfu has been. But now it's a misconnection on the pass, the ball on the ground, and we just let Mid-America get that ball. So we'd like to see the aggression kick up a little bit. You know, there's still a sense of urgency. There's plenty of time to play. The ball knocked on by Mid-America. Stars with the ball, but he is signaling the knock early. So we have a Stars scrum and a couple of substitutions coming on. So coming on for Stars, Sydney Stover, and coming on for Mid-America, number 20, Glory Woolley, and number 21, Anna Savage. This is 5 substitutes on so far for Mid-America. Coming off for Mid-America is their number 4, Alyssa Duquette-Murat. Again, she is a solid player. I'd love to talk to her about some additional opportunities beyond Mid-America too, and coming on a couple trips with us.
Doing a little recruiting now.
Of course. it used to be in the USA that we had these big all-star competitions where instead of this being teams that people are putting together, they were rather regionally funded teams by the LAUs, local area unions, and put on by the territories. So in the Midwest, we were broken into 7 different territories and would play an LAU tournament. So you'd have the Illinois team, the Chicago area team, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Indiana, and whatnot. And the best players from those teams would then be invited to play for the Midwest team, and you'd play at the ITT or interterritorial tournament. And then the best players from those teams were the ones that would get invites to the USA camps. It was a very clear system and pathway, and it's something that players always enjoyed because you got to play with the players that you played against with club rugby or college rugby, and they did this at both the U23 and the senior level. Absent that, which something again which was funded by teams, you have people kind of putting together and resurrecting things of their own, but this is all being player funded as well. There's a penalty shown. He showed 2 stars at first and then switched directions to Mid-America. And the ball on attack for Mid-America doesn't quite find its mark in their outside center as the ball, however, falls from her hands backwards, so it is play on. Mid-America with an attacking opportunity. They've got their forward set up to the left side. We see the dish from their fly half out to the flanker, taken down by Stars defense. So we know that these plays are coming. We know that they've got the option and where they're going to be striking from. It is Mid-America getting to the outside of the field, just shy of the goal line. Mid-America putting some pressure on the Stars. The ball is knocked forward decisively. And now we're going to have a scrum to Stars about 5 meters from the goal line. So good defensive pressure, creating some ball handling errors.
Still 30-37. About halfway through this first half.
Second half?
Second half, yeah. It's been a long day.
We had almost a full half of scrumming to start this half too. So, well, looking to see some running rugby. Let's get some action and get these passes on the field. So looking at the importance of catch pass and having the skills, making sure that you've got the ability to go 5 meters, 10 meters, 15 meters left and right. When we've been involved with some of these Eagle tracking camps that they've had, especially with the men's side, we were testing players. So I happened to be at one down in Columbus with the All-American coaches and some of the USA coaches, and we were tracking accuracy but efficiency as well. Can they go 5 meters left and right? A lot of players are stronger to one side than the other. Same thing with kicking, and then line out throwers were throwing. We had specific rucking drills, all kinds of fitness testing too. But these are all things that you can do on your own at home. Passing into a pillow, passing into a wall, passing into targets, just like you see football quarterbacks passing into hoops and whatnot.
Yeah. A
lot you can set up cone drills for your footwork, and there's a lot of work that can be done in the gym, a lot of work that can be done, and then you grab a partner and can do even more. But it is the basic fundamental skills. And when you talk to the high performance coaches, even Ben Ryan with Fiji, who won the gold medal in the Olympics, has said, it's just simple things done well. This is something where, again, ball handling errors by the Stars, turnover try to Mid-America. So these balls bouncing out of players' hands and onto the ground, open play, Mid-America with the urgency, really bringing it, and they go over the line again. It is going to be 38-7, pending the conversion.
That's Nisha Newton for Marfu with the score. Finally break the slump of scrums and no action. Going to be Anna Albrecht trying to tack on 2 more with the conversion. We're about 20 minutes into the second half.
So interestingly enough, if she's moving forward and she started her kick attempt, that's when teams are allowed to start their charge. A lot of kickers will take a step back before they start their forward approach, and they actually just changed the law with that. She was coming to reset the ball, but if we had had chasers, they could have come up at that moment too. It's one of those things like with the setup and everything too. She was clearly resetting the ball, so then the referee would call those chasers back and everything too. But when you do see a player start to move forward with their approach, the kick is when you can come and try to block a conversion. The kick is good, so that extends the lead to 40-7 to Mid-America. I've actually seen people charge the ball down because under the old laws, when players did take that step back, they would take that step back and set and then move forward. And I saw someone from another team once kick the ball off the tee the other way.
Take advantage while you can.
off the ball in the air. Definitely goes 10 that time. So oddly enough, having greater success kicking into the wind than out of it. Perhaps a little afraid of the ball carrying too far. It is Mid-America in their half of the field. We see a double tackle attempt here by the Stars. The ball is finding its way into Stars' hands. Well taken on the fly by Lauren Schley. Outside, Jenna Balestra has got Kat Klesi. Kat coming into ruck, so good job by the wing. And the ball out, Izzy Gibbon, the scrum half. She looks to see if she can take the space right in front of her. So it was a good idea and it was a good read. The timing wasn't quite there to be able to power over. And now off the base of the ruck was Lauren Schley out to Keita Sutton. Keita Sutton dipping her shoulder. So we talk about those players holding the ball with their shoulders over the ball, able to go either way. That little shoulder dip was enough to take defenders off their line. Krista Banks now with the ball. Mid-America looking to poach. The ball is out. It is going to be a Stars penalty for Mid-America not releasing. And again, I would love to see players just going to get the ball and going through the mark. She takes the ball, doesn't quite go through the mark, but we need to be moving forward. We've been playing a lot of slow penalties, and that's just allowing Mid-America to set and launch versus Stars being able to go forward and do something special. So again, the idea was there. Now we're going to go through the referee's mark. Stars opting for the scrum off of the penalty. If I were a betting woman, I would expect to see an 8-man pick from Esther Anderson wearing the number 18 jersey. She's done it 3 or 4 times already this half. And this is a scenario where there is a bit of open space. Oh, not the pick. So good thing I didn't place a wager on it. Ball a little bit lower in the delivery, but Elena Cantorna, Lauren Schley, again cleaning this up. Lauren is a player who plays both wing, fullback, and flanker. Played high school rugby in Wisconsin, college rugby at University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. We see another substitution coming on for Mid-America. It's going to be their 6th change of the game. And coming on for Stars, number 20, Jasmine Griffin, taking out Tia Deck, the try scorer from the first half. So knock on called when we do resume play. We're going to see a scrum to Mid-America.
You have to come off for bleeding, right? Because it looks like the referee was checking one of the girls out.
Yes, you can come back on the field, though, for a blood substitution. Now there's 15 minutes allowed to attempt to stop blood. That did happen in our men's game earlier, where Bryce Lanhart had to come off of the field. And if you are able to re-enter the field to play within that 15 minutes, then it doesn't count as an actual substitution. So the scrum to Mid-America, the ball is in. Getting pretty high with the 2 front rows later in the game. We saw that pressure pushing up instead of strong, straight, stable backs. A good attack on the far side of the field by Mid-America. That was their number 22 on attack. And again, weaving downfield. So staying with that far side and getting some good line breaks and good go forward. Ball out again, and now this time we expect to see one of their forwards taking it forward. That's Kara Westberg with the ball in hand. Taken down, so the ruck is set, coming to the right side of the field again.
Marfu has some nice power runners up the middle.
One of the problems, though, is that Stars are being rather flat in defense and are not launching together. So we saw in the first half a lot of instances where we had good line speed coming up and we were taking away their defensive space. Now we're letting Mid-America come to us, so that is changing when the ball is available and the kind of pressure that we're able to put onto the team. So right now, Mid-America going to the outside. They had numbers out wide. See, substitute Jasmine Griffin. And the play being called back, it was a penalty to the Stars. And we see a nice offload, Krista Banks to Esther Anderson. Support is there. If Stars can get the ball out and move it quickly, we could do something with some numbers, as well as the fact that there are no fullbacks or wings back for Mid-America. So this is something too that when you're looking at film and looking at where there's space to attack, when you have flat fullbacks, there's space to kick downfield and generally space to recover as well. So finding people that might be out of position, because that was quick transition with a penalty, not because somebody was being lazy, but more just that we were then able to get the turnover with the penalty and attack forward. Those are opportunities to kick downfield. The ball knocking around a bit, and we see the knock-on indicated by Stars going to Mid-America. Mid-America with advantage as they've got the ball in hand. So advantage being gained through maintaining possession. A solid tackle by Kat Kloesi. And you see a smile on her face, so good rugby all around. Mid-America still ball in hand. Again, patient on their attack and running through their options. This is Westberg again with the ball taken down. And nope, she's still going. It is another player involved in that tackle situation. Morgan Yankee for Stars, player from Mid-America being helped up. And Mid-America still. So going through multiple phases of play here, doing well to maintain possession and patiently make their way forward. Coming just past the halfway line. Recycling the ball, recycling their phases, looking again to go to their runners. Here's another one. And this is what we were doing well before, getting into counter rucks, getting into poaching situations. While we didn't get the ball, we were able to drive Mid-America back. Mid-America now gains the ground, though, via Katie Saunders doing well to release the ball. She can get back to her feet. There's no tackler over her, no ruck is formed, but now Stars come away. This is Krista Banks again. I believe this is her 8th steal of the game. Might have to sign her up for the NBA with those stats. So transition ball, we got Keita Sutton with the ball in hand. Keita Sutton carrying low, and look at this. It's going to take 3 or 4 defenders to get her down. A good pick and go from Morgan Yankee.
Nice steal by Marfu right there.
Not entirely legal. You can't play the girl when you're on the ground. She kind of rolled over the player, rolled over the ball, and stole it at the same time too, but had been involved in that tackle in the ruck, so it was very clearly not releasing. But rugby is playing on. This is a nice break here by Mid-America, opening up the field through the middle of the field, getting around to the outside, and this Mid-America down for another try, going to extend their lead to 45-7.
I believe that's Emily Lesner who got that score. Get a Stars player being looked at near midfield.
Yep. Looks like Esther might be taking a moment. We've got our final 2 substitutes coming on for Mid-America.
$45-7 our score here, depending upon this conversion try.
So we do have Anderson coming off of the field. Looks like she may have taken a knock. A little bit of blood on her face, so hopefully get that cleaned up.
Around 10 minutes left to go here in the last half. We did have a couple of whistles, so there might be a little extra time on top of that. 45-7 our score.
So Stars bringing on a blood substitution. Carol Trammell going back onto the field with Esther coming off, so we can get this bleed on her cheek stopped. A little bit of boxing style trainer action going on.
Get a little cold press on that cheek and get her back out there.
So the kickoff by Banks, going to the same spot we've been going before. So getting about 15 meters downfield and into the hands of a Mid-America player. This is one of their substitutes, so she's got fresh legs and good go forward, and she makes it across halfway, so driving about 15 meters on the run and with a good leg action. Mid-America, ball in hand. Kara Westberg Grabbed by the ankles by Banks. Banks trying to roll out of the tackle and get into the action again. Coming to the near side of the field, we have Kat Cloesi. Kat not quite able to get her arms around and make the tackle, but she does get the tackle from behind, so she recovers. But that's after Nisha gets a stellar run on this near sideline. Mid-America with a run down the far sideline. Katie Sanders gets a try, taking the corner, going around the outside, just winning the foot race against Stars, adding another. Score is going to go 50-7.
So she's trying to set up a nice conversion for her kicker?
Yes, getting the ball to the middle of the field means that the kicker can kick straight on to the post. So it should be an easy conversion here for Mid-America to add to the lead.
They've done a nice job of getting to that outside and turning those into points all game long.
Yep, definitely good foot speed and good go forward. We know that she's a solid player in contact, so able to break through a couple tackles and then using that momentum to continue forward with her strides. The conversion is good, 52-7, Mid-America leading. Kickoff by Stars. Again, we continue going to the same place. I would like to see us shake it up a little bit. This time the ball is knocked forward, so it became a good outcome for Stars. But we're kicking it, straight into the depth now of the Mid-America forwards, and they have done so well with carrying it forward. But again, hard in the wind to try to get that depth downfield, like you might be looking for to pull things in a different direction. The ball knocked on, not quite connecting there. A scrum to Mid-America, about 10 meters shy of halfway.
So just a reminder, we'll be back tomorrow, December 2nd. First game will be at 11 a.m. as Marfu will take on Capital Rugby. And then at 1 p.m., Texas Rugby Union will take on Stars Rugby to conclude the TRU All-Star Challenge for the weekend.
We see the pick by Esther Anderson with a scrum driving back under pressure. Getting it outside to Jasmine Griffin. Attempts to reset. It's good patience by Stars. Makes Steffes ball in hand. We've got some space to the outside of the field if we can just get it away from where Mid-America is. We're passing a lot under pressure and we're not setting up deep enough to counteract the pressure now that they're putting on with the ball. It is going to be a penalty to Stars. Izzy Gibbon with the ball, getting it outside. So Elena Cantorna finds Jasmine Griffin. Jazz Griffin, one of 3 players from the Raleigh Venom program. They're a team that have made it into the D1 National Championship. Lost to Life West this year. The year before, they'd made it into the East Final 4 and then into the East Championship game before falling to Chicago North Shore. So this is nice. Now we're finally getting the ball in action into space. Some longer passes. This is Kat Cloesi on the outside. The ball is knocked on, so we're going to have a scrum just in front of our commentary table. put in by Mid-America. The ball being tied up a little bit, and it is dug out, going to the strong side of the field. So a nice scripted play with the insert of their fullback and then coming out wide to the far side. And the ball is knocked forward with a punishing tackle by Jasmine Griffin. We're going to see the game ending with that knock on and the ball step out into touch. Congratulations to Mid-America Selects, winning 52-7 over Stars Rugby. Well played by the Mid-America side, certainly using their strength with their forwards, opening up a little bit of space and getting around the outside as the game progressed. It'll be interesting matchups going on tomorrow. Again, Mid-America going to be taking on the Capital Select side at 11. Stars regrouping to take on Texas, looking at the film and seeing what we need to change and different styles of play. And again, the great thing about playing all-star rugby and coming to tournaments like these are being able to change the styles and change it up. We don't really have consequences for losing matches as dire as losing in a league situation. So can take the teachable moments and move forward. I know Anna Kunkel will do the same with her team, a skilled and gifted coach that is certainly a huge advocate for her players as well. But some strong forward play by Mid-America that unfortunately our team just a tad too undersized to handle some of their runs. But we'll be back tomorrow for some more rugby action.
All right, stay tuned to the True TRU YouTube channel. 11 a.m. tomorrow is our first game. We'll see you tomorrow.